In the silence after the bombs, Gaza breathes in dust. A child walks through ruins that used to be a neighborhood, his shadow stretching across walls still warm from fire. Far away, in the glow of marble offices and flashing cameras, another kind of war begins, fought with words, promises, and plans. It's called Trump's Gaza Plan, and depending on how it unfolds, it could reshape not just Gaza, but the entire Middle East. This is what Trump's Gaza Plan could trigger next. In September 2025, Donald Trump announced a 20-point proposal to end the Gaza war. It promises an immediate ceasefire, the release of hostages, a phased Israeli withdrawal, and a new governing authority, the so-called Gaza International Transitional Council, under international supervision. On paper, it looks like peace, but every peace plan has its ghosts. Because in the Middle East, promises are written in ink and erased in blood. Walk through Gaza City today and you walk through silence and sand. 80% of its buildings are damaged or gone. Hospitals stand cracked and half-functioning. Children draw homes that no longer exist. The United Nations calls it unlivable. Aid trucks line the border, waiting for clearance that may never come. And yet, amid broken concrete, life stirs. People plant small gardens in the rubble. A teacher opens a school under a tent. A mother whispers bedtime stories about a sea her children have never seen. It's from these ruins that the weight of Trump's plan will be felt first. Trump's Gaza plan divides experts. It asks Hamas to disarm completely, a demand they've refused for decades. It places Gaza under an international body with the United States at its head. It promises Israel security guarantees and billions in reconstruction aid, mostly from Gulf allies. But critics warn the plan skips the hardest part, trust. Who enforces it if one side cheats? Who rebuilds Gaza's power grid? And who governs when every political faction claims the right to speak for its people? Behind every signature lies a minefield.
If Hamas refuses the plan, Israel may resume its full-scale offensive. If it accepts but factions splinter, Gaza could collapse into internal war. If international monitors fail to keep peace, militias could rise from the shadows. Analysts warn that the plan could ignite 6 potential triggers: regional escalation, Hezbollah, Iran, militias in Syria and Yemen, internal Gaza insurgency, collapse of the transitional authority, humanitarian collapse, global diplomatic fracture, and the most dangerous of all, a new narrative of betrayal that fuels generations of revenge. Because every unkept promise becomes propaganda, every broken truce becomes legend.
The plan doesn't end at Gaza's border. It ripples outward to Tel Aviv, Tehran, Riyadh, Washington, to oil prices, refugee routes, and secret cables between capitals. If it succeeds, it could reset alliances. Israel reconciled with Arab neighbors, U.S. credibility restored. If it fails, it could plunge the region into a decade of instability. A war not just of weapons, but of economies, ideologies, and global narratives. Because when the Middle East trembles, the world feels the aftershock.
I lost my home twice, says a Gaza nurse. Once to bombs, once to politics. A former Israeli soldier tells me, "We can win battles, but never peace." A U.S. diplomat whispers off record, "This plan might buy time, or burn history. Across the region, protests rise. Some chant for peace, others warn of betrayal. And in the noise, one truth stands clear. Gaza is not a chessboard. It's a graveyard of failed ideas and forgotten promises. Yet people still hope, because hope, even here, is an act of rebellion.
As this film is released, the deadline approaches. Trump has given Hamas until Sunday night to accept. Israel's military pauses its advance, waiting. The world holds its breath. Will Gaza disarm for peace or bleed for another decade? Will Israel trust withdrawal or double down on control? Every decision now is irreversible. Every silence carries a consequence. History, once again, waits in smoke and sand. Look at Gaza now, not as a battlefield, but as a mirror. What we see there reflects who we are. Power without empathy builds ruins, but empathy without action builds nothing. If Trump's Gaza plan holds, maybe, just maybe, the region can breathe again. If it fails, the next war may not be fought in Gaza alone, but in hearts across the world. The future isn't written by leaders. It's written by those who survive their decisions. This was what Trump's Gaza plan could trigger next. But maybe this isn't the end. Maybe what we call a plan is only the illusion of control. Because Gaza has seen many plans before, each one promising order, each one collapsing into chaos. Borders redrawn, aid repackaged, treaties signed in rooms far from the ruins they claim to fix. And yet, somehow, Gaza endures. It refuses to disappear. It refuses to be defined only by war. There's a quiet power in survival, in rebuilding when no one is watching, in teaching when there are no schools, in dreaming when the sky is still filled with smoke. Trump's Gaza plan might shape the next headlines, but the real story, the one history we'll remember, is being written by people who refuse to surrender to despair.